In this section, we will maintain and configure SAP S/4HANA controlling area, profit center master data and extended hierarchy, cost center master data and extended hierarchy, and then I will show you how we can create cost elements as DL account master data. So here's the business scenario. The company wants to keep a record of management costs and profits. The management wants to have the functionality of cost accounting in SAP system. They want that the internal cost should be calculated in US dollar, which is global or group currency, because as I mentioned to you earlier that our company example, the head office of our company's example is based in the United States. So accordingly, we will use US dollars as our controlling area currency. That also happens in the real examples as well, that if a company head office is based in a country and its subsidiaries are located in different countries, then the controlling area currency is used where the head office is located. So in our example, our company's head office is in US, so we will use USD as our controlling area currency, and local currency will be GBP. The management wants to set up the following cost center and profit center groups and their related cost centers and profit centers. And these are inventory, utilities, assets, finance, production, marketing, maintenance, research, and development. So these will be the names of the groups which we will create for our cost center hierarchy and profit center hierarchy or group. Issue with that. Double click on it, and you see that it has got a different chart of accounts and different fiscal year variant. So you have to change them. So let's change the one which we are using for the company groups. And our fiscal year variant is ZA. We are using country chart account A as INT, and our company is PUS01. We are not using any control area at the moment. And our field status variant is ZAB1, and posting period variant is also ZAB1. And uncheck this, and I will keep the same setting which I'm using for UK company code. And then click save icon. It is just a warning for company currency differs from company code currency. Press enter, and you can enter these customizing requests into your Chinese company code, that is PCN1 under the same node. Press enter, and that's how you can assign company code global data for a new company code, that is for China. And now go back, and you can first come out from the screen and click this cancel button, and now try to assign PCN1 with this controlling area. Enter. Okay, so it's a different chart account, so it is not recognizing the changes which we have already done for our China company code. So what we will do, we will come out from the screen, and then once again we will come back. Come out of the screen, and then double click on maintain control area, and go to position. Our controlling area is ZPUS. Select this, go to assignment of company codes, click new entries, enter PCN1, and this time it is working. Click save. Press enter, and this will go under the customizing request for assign company codes to controlling. Press enter again, press enter. Press enter to remove the warning, and that's how you can assign another company code to the same controlling area. It's just for demonstration. When you will do practice, you do not need to assign multiple company codes to the controlling area. You can just work with only one company code in order to understand your concept, in order to understand this process better. So I have just showed you the assignment of 4 different company codes just to show you that the chart of accounts and fiscal year variant should be common in between controlling area and company codes. If you do not enter any value date, the system will translate currency by period. The system determines an exchange rate based on the starting dates from each period, which includes potential exchange rate fluctuations in a fiscal year. Right? So we will not enter any value date here. And similarly, you can enter more fiscal years. Sorry, version log is the same concept that if you do not want to use plan data for this version to the next years. You can also use exchange rate type as M as well. It is up to you. Right? So after that, click save, and that's how you can make the settings for version 0, especially creating the fiscal years for both controlling area fiscal year and profit center fiscal year. In this lecture, I will explain you what is the role of profit center accounting and demonstrate you its configuration on SAP system. Profit center is an organizational unit controlling to recognize both revenues and expenses. It reflects the management-oriented structure of the enterprise for the purposes of internal control. It provides insight into the effectiveness and results for areas of responsibility within the enterprise. The management closely monitors the results of profit centers to make the investment decisions, since these are the key drivers of the total results of the parent entity. Based on profit center results, the management decides how to earn revenue and which expenses to incur. Profit contribution of the department and return on capital expenditure investment are the key performance indicators which are reported to profit center accounting. Further, profit center accounting lets to determine profits and losses by profit center using either period accounting or the cost of sales approach. It is the only object from which the segments can be uniformly derived. It is possible to assign the same segment to multiple profit centers. It is an element for which separate balance sheet and profit and loss statements can be created. The postings can be made into profit center across multiple company codes within the controlling area. It receives statistical cost posting from all other management accounting components. It is integrated with the universal journal. The following configuration for profit center accounting we will do initially. Set controlling area, its transaction code is OKAS, and here is its menu path. Then we will maintain controlling area settings for profit center by using the transaction code or menu path. Then we will create a dummy profit center which is required, and its transaction code is KE51, or you can also create a dummy profit center by following the menu path. Then we will set control parameters for actual data with the transaction code 1KEF, or we can also follow the menu path. So I will do these steps one by one on SAP system. So go to the transaction code SPRO, SAP reference ING, and go to controlling node, profit center accounting, basic settings, and set controlling area. This step is necessary in case if you are working on another controlling area that has been expired, or for any other reason. So set controlling area when you execute this, so it makes sure that which controlling area you have to choose. Possibly you have got another controlling area which is already expired, but you were just looking into it and that was selected. So this step is necessary in terms of setting the controlling area where you want to configure your profit center. Once you are satisfied with the entries, you can click save button. That's it. The next step is to maintain controlling area settings for profit centers. Click on this button and go to maintain controlling area settings. Execute this, and you will be landed on this screen. Here you have to create the standard hierarchy for profit center. So you can choose here PCSH, profit center standard hierarchy, and that is for the controlling area PUS1. Next is elimination of internal business volume. So this is the checkbox. It basically eliminates internal business volume in your controlling area. If you check off this field, the system will not update transaction data between objects which are assigned to the same profit center in account-based profit center. So we are not checking this box. The next is profit center local currency type. For profit center, we will choose the currency as GBP. Select this, and I will choose profit center currency. Confirm, and then press enter, and then choose profit center local currency as GBP. Because profit center we are using in for our UK company code, and the local currency of UK is GBP. So controlling area currency is United States dollar, but the profit center local currency is in GBP, which will calculate the revenues which UK company will generate locally. So that's why we are using the local currency as GBP. Next is store transaction currency. This indicator controls whether or not the transaction currency is updated when actual plan data is transferred from other components to profit center accounting. If you will set this field flag or checkbox, it will increase the data volume, since the total records need to be broken down according to the transaction currency. This indicator has no effect on direct entry of data in profit center accounting. If the corresponding layout is used, values can be entered or plan in the transaction currency, even if the indicator has not been set here. So we will mark this checkbox for the store transaction currency. Next is valuation view. You use valuation views to represent different ways of doing business transactions in a company. So I will keep using legal valuation. AI distribution method, so just set the indicator no distribution to other systems. Control indicators from year 1992, that is fine, and after that, click save. Go back, and the next option is to create dummy profit centers. and it is under master data, profit center, and create dummy profit center. This is required with the configuration of profit center. Execute this and click on create dummy profit center. You can choose the name here, dummy, and enter the controlling area, that is ZEUS. Click visit data and you will be on the screen. Let me tell you the function of the dummy profit center. The dummy profit center receives all the postings in your system to objects which are not assigned to a profit center. This ensures that your data will be complete in profit center accounting. So if you will not assign profit center to any transactional line item, so then dummy profit center will be selected by default. So that's the function of dummy profit center. So you can choose the name here, dummy profit center. Description will be the same. If you want to enter the name of the person, you can enter it here. Profit center group, select this button and choose the profit center group. It will be populated automatically. So group is the same as standard hierarchy which we created in our last step. Segment, as I explained you, that the segment is derived from the profit center. And this is also necessary for segment reporting as well. We have already created segments in document splitting lecture. If you are not sure, you can go back and see that lecture. So this is the profit center. Even if you do not assign segment, it is completely fine. If you want to select any segment, so you can go ahead and select a segment. So let's choose a segment ZES1. Go to the indicators, go to company code, and you will see here that the company code assignment being made automatically. So this means that one profit center can be assigned to multiple company codes. When you create a profit center, all the company codes within the control area are assigned to it by default, right? And then click save. So you will have a message profit center dummy has been created. You can also create a profit center if you would like to do that. Next is set control parameters for actual data. So go back to control area settings and go to activate direct postings. Expand this node, and here execute set control parameters for actual data. So at the moment it is blank, so you have to create new entries here. So let's choose 2020 line items online transfer. If you remember, we made the similar settings for our version 0. And similarly, create 2022 line item, click check, mark the checkbox line items and online transfer. Line items actually is an indicator whether line item should be line item document should be written each time you transfer actual data. So that's the checkbox which represents these settings. Online transfer. This indicator controls whether the postings should be transferred to profit center accounting for each activity. If an indicator is not activated, you need to transfer the postings manually using available programs. But normally we mark the both checkboxes for line items and online transfer. And similarly, 2024 line items and online transfer, mark these checkboxes and then hit save. And the data will be saved. Go back again, and go to actual postings. Go to basic settings actual and go to define number ranges for local documents. Execute this and go to intervals and check if your company code has already got number ranges for profit centers. Continue. So it says no interval exists. So what you can do, you can click this copy icon and you can copy from the company code 001 because we haven't copied number ranges from the company code 001 because that is a copy from the company code 001 because we copied from GB01. So looks like GB01 does not have any assignment for control area. Click enter, continue, and now have a look if an interval has been copied. So here you are. So all these intervals have been copied from 0001 now. If you do not do this step, so later on when you will post any transaction, you will receive an error which will be saying that no number range interval exists or something like that. Here you can see that you have two options to define the number range. Either you can choose the year or you can enter 999. It means it will be valid for all the years. But if you are very specific, then you can create a number range for the existing year, which is 2020. And how can you do that? You can click this pencil button and then you can select any line here, let's say 01, 1992. Click go to edit, click insert here, and then enter here 2020. Press enter, and that's how you can create a number range for the existing year. And then click save, and the settings will be saved. You can also mark the checkbox external. I will explain you the difference between internal number range and external number range in the later lectures. So that's the configuration for profit centers. Or you can click change and then go to this option. And here you can see that you have one standard hierarchy group, which is the highest level of hierarchy which we created, and under that you have profit center, and energy profit center directly assigned to this highest level of hierarchy. But you do not want that energy profit center should be assigned directly to the profit center, but it should have another group that is utilities. So in that case, select the highest level of node and click lower level, and this will insert profit center group on lower level, and you can keep its name as ZEUS utilities. And then enter the description, utilities, and that's it. Press enter. And now you have to assign this energy profit center under the utilities. Then you can go back and click on change, individual processing change. And then go to this profit center master data and change the profit center group within the profit center. Choose utilities, press enter, just ignore the warning by pressing enter and then save it. That's it, go back. And now if you go to profit center group, so you can see the assignment of energy profit center under utilities. So you see that there are 2-3 steps to create an individual profit center and then create a profit center group from the another transaction. So I normally use this transaction code to save my time, and that is standard hierarchy and go to change. Because we have already created standard hierarchy, now we have to change it. And its transaction code is KCH5. Double click on it, and you will have this screen open. Now this is a very user-friendly screen where you can create profit center group and profit center at the same time. And also you have an option to copy. For example, I want to create another profit center for gas. So I will select it and click copy. And profit center, it's asking me for the profit center name. So I will type here PUK1 utilities, and this is going to be GJ01. And that is going to be, I will just change the name and long text. And then I will choose the segment, if any segment we have created. So we created ZTS6 or we created Z87. And go to indicators and company code. If you want to use for all your company codes, you can check all of them. You can choose address, communication, and then history. Once you're finished, you can click save. So you can see there's a red light indicator which shows its activation status. It means that this profit center has not been activated yet. So in order to make it activated, you have to click this activate button and check this box and then click activate. And this will be activated. Similarly, if you have to create another group, for example, let's say production. So what we can do, we will click on create and see select lower level group. And it can be ZEUS production. Enter. Click on it, select this group, and then again select that button. And if you want to get another group, you can choose the same level. If you want to get profit center, then choose profit center. And then enter the name of the profit center. It can be PUK1 utilities, and that is production profit center. I will type PR01. Enter the name production profit center. Person responsible, you can enter the person responsible and enter the segment if you have created any segment for production. Otherwise, we created a lot of segments, so we can choose here segment 1. Go to indicators. Okay, go to company code assignment. Once you're happy with the creation of profit center, then click activate button or save button. If you click activate button, it will activate the profit center. So and then click save. And your data has been saved. So that's how we can create a profit center group and profit center within the transaction code of standard hierarchy. So further, we have to create the following profit center groups and then profit centers accordingly. So I've created the following profit centers and profit center groups. As you can see on my screen, production, finance, marketing, maintenance, research and development, utilities, and assets. And under production, I've created the following profit centers. And I have also assigned segments under each profit centers accordingly, which I can show you one by one. Like angle grinder, we created the segment as angle grinder. So you can create profit center groups and accordingly profit centers within the center hierarchy. Next, if you think that you have created a profit center by mistake and you want to delete that, so you can select it, but you cannot delete within the center hierarchy. Even if you try to delete any of the profit center, you will not be able to delete it if it is already activated. If it is inactive, then you can click this button and delete inactive profit centers. And you have got that here as well. If you click on this button, this will give you this message. This function is not available for object type profit center. So what you will do? You have to go back and come out of the standard hierarchy screen and go to this transaction code that is KE54. Double click on it. And suppose you want to delete a profit center, protection profit center. That's the one. Double click on it. And then click on master data. And then click on mark for deletion. And then save it. Okay, it is giving you the message profit center saved in inactive status. You can check the status of the profit center that says now inactive delete, but it is not yet fully deleted. If you want to activate it again, you can go to edit and remove, select remove inactive version to activate it again. If you want to delete it completely, then click again on this activate button. And now it's saying, do you really want to delete the profit center? Click yes. And you will have the message profit center deleted. Even if you try to do its master data, it will give you the error is not valid in control area ZTUS. So you go back and have a look in the standard hierarchy for this profit center if you can view this or not. So you cannot see this profit center which you have just deleted. Just remember, you cannot delete any profit center in which there are existing postings or transactions. At the moment, we have just created our profit center, but we haven't started posting transactions into the profit centers. That's why the profit centers have zero balance. So when they have zero balance, you can delete them. Otherwise, you can mark a profit center for deletion. Profit center will be inactive, but it is not possible to delete a profit center if there will be existing transactions. In this lecture, I will show you how you can copy a profit center group with suffix. The original profit center group together with all its child groups is copied to the new profit center group. The system adds the suffix you enter the technical names of the copied profit center group and its child groups. This can be beneficial if you tend to go through many reorganizations, leading to extra master data maintenance work. You can change profit center group KCH2 to copy groups with suffix, and here is its menu path. So you can go to transaction code KCH2 and select your profit center group, go to hierarchy, and suppose you want to copy utilities. The whole profit center group you want to copy. Then select this node for utilities, go to group and click copy. Copy with suffix. That is a required entry. As you can see, the little tick mark. So you can enter here, suppose that's for another company, like TDE1. That is our German company, and then click copy profit center group. And you will notice that with the profit center group, the suffix TDE1 having pop up. After that, you can save it. So that's very simple that you can copy a profit center group with suffix. In this lecture, I will show you how we can assign default profit center to GL accounts. If you are making profit center as mandatory entry in defined document stating characteristics for general ledger accounting, then you may consider the following settings. You can make default profit center to GL accounts interval for each company code by using P code FADL PKDH, or you can also follow the menu path. The default profit center is derived under the following conditions. No profit center is specified in the posting. A profit center cannot be derived from the cost element, for example, on the basis of the cost center or the order. This means that derivation is only useful for profit and loss and balance sheet accounts in cases where the profit center cannot be derived or specified. Derivation occurs when the posting is made. Please note that you should only enter default profit centers for accounts that are not intended for document splitting, such as cash account and bank account. I will go to the SAP system and will assign the following scenario. Go to the transaction code SPRO, SAP reference ING, go to financial accounting, general ledger accounting, and then go to business transactions, document splitting, and go to define document splitting characteristics for general ledger accounting. Execute it. And here you will notice that you have an option to make mandatory field. So if you are using profit center as a mandatory field, then you must assign a default profit center to GL accounts in case when there will be no profit center specified in the posting. So that the default profit center should be picked up. As we are not making profit center mandatory field, so this assignment of default profit center to GL accounts is optional for us. If in your practice you are also not making profit center as mandatory, so you can skip this step. Go back and now I will show you where you can define profit center to GL accounts. Go to general ledger accounting and then go to master data node GL accounts. Sorry, go to profit center, and here you have an option assign default profit center to accounts. Execute this and enter your company code, that is TUK1. Continue, and you will be landed on this screen. So as I explained you in the slide, that you can assign only those GL accounts which are not intended for document splitting, such as cash account and bank account. So if you want to assign default profit center to your cash account and bank account, then click on new entries. So here you have two options. Either you can give an account range, or you can assign a default profit center to an individual account. For example, we can assign a default profit center to our cash account, which is 100,000 and 100,000 again. And then I have created a default profit center, which you can see here. If I double click on it, so you can see the settings in my default profit center, and it is valid for all the company codes. So I will choose this profit center as a default profit center and then assign it to my cash account. Press enter, and then click save. Assign default profit center to cash account. Press enter. And similarly, if you want to assign another default profit center to your bank account, so you can create a default profit center and then assign it to your bank. Or you can also use the assignment of same default profit center with your bank account. Suppose as our bank account is 110,000 and 110,000 again, and then enter the same default profit center and then click save. So that's how you can assign default profit center to your GL accounts. The role is to search for the profit center app. So let's say you don't know the name of the app, so just type profit center, and you will have this app in the search. If it comes up, it means that you have a relevant role to create a profit center. Click on it, and you will have this screen open. Here you need to click create button, and you will have this screen open. If you want to make it full screen, then click this button. And after that, the steps will be the same. You have to enter your control area first, and your control area is ZTUS. And after that, choose the profit center. Again, you have to follow the naming convention as you do it when you create profit center through SAP Easy Access. So let's choose the name of the profit center. For example, if it is going to be, let's say, machine hours. So we will type P and then PTUK1, and it comes under production, like production hours or machine hours. So it will go to PMA01. After that, once you quit, then enter the name, machine hours. Very from. Now here, you will see that the date was not chosen from 1st of January, as it does in SAP Easy Access screen. So if it is the case, then you have to manually choose the date from January. So we type here 1st of January 2020. And if you want to enter value date, you can do that. User responsible. So user responsible should be the one which exists in SAP system. So my username exists in SAP system as 431. Profit center machine hours long text can be machine hours as well. Person responsible, this is required field, as you can see, a red separate sign with that. So I will enter my name, and profit center log, no profit center group. So profit center group can be production group. Let's search for that, and it's going to be production. Let's say if you want to enter a segment, so click on it, click go, and it will display you all the segments exist in your SAP system. So that can be, let's say, segment 2. Okay, and if you want to enter department, you can do that address. You can enter the address communication. It's completely up to you whether you want to enter anything in these tabs, address and communication. As I explained earlier, that proficiency can have a physical location as well. Right, once you've done that, okay, we have an option to assign company codes. If you want to assign with only one company code, then you can uncheck all the other options. Otherwise, you can keep them as they are. So let's say we do not want to use machine hours with EDE1, so I will uncheck this. Let's say if you will change anything about master data later on, so you'll have this change log where you can see new value and old value and the name of the user who changes for this profit center. Once you finish, then click save button, and the profit center has been deleted. Now you can go back to SAP Easy Access screen and see if it has deleted or not. Right, okay, so I will go to the transaction code KCH5, and which is the transaction code to display profit center standard hierarchy, and I will go to my cost, the multiple area that is ZTC1, right, ZTUS. Click save, and expand the list, go to production, and here you are. You can see that machine hours profit center has been created. You will also notice one more thing, that it has been activated directly to SAP Fury. You do not need to click any activate button when you create a profit center to SAP Fury. So that's the difference between SAP Fury creation of profit center and SAP Easy Access creation of profit center. And are always statistical. It provides a clear and precise view of the activities provided in an organization and its related costs. A cost center category classifies cost centers according to their usage or origin. There is one-to-one relationship between a cost center and a company code. So it is unlike profit center. Profit center can be assigned to multiple company codes, while cost center can only be assigned to one company code. A cost center derives its currency from the company code. If you remember, we configure the currency for profit center, but for a cost center, it always derives its currency from the company code. A cost center can have an address and communication data, just like profit center. Reporting will be created separately. So the chain is the data goes to GL, then cost center, then profit center, and then segment. So that's the complete assignment. Similarly, you can create more cost centers according to your requirement. You can create more groups and more cost centers. Under that, you have an option to select and then click copy. So let's create another cost center, and that can be one, and this can be gas. Okay, category will be the same, organization data will be the same as well, and then click save. Okay, so that's how you can create another cost center. Alright, I have created the following cost center groups and cost centers, as you can see on my screen. I have created water, angle grinder, hammers, saws, and the rest of the cost center groups according to our business scenario. Let me create one more cost center for production, that is for drills. And in order to create it, I will select the existing cost center and click on copy, or I can create a new cost center. So let's create a cost center by copy method. So choose the cost center name, that will be 1TUK1, which is your company code. Production is the cost center group name, and it's for drills. So I will enter DR01, I will edit the name drills. Person responsible and cost center category will be production. As you can see, that it has been copied from the cost center which we copied. Go to organization, and as you can see, company code is TUK1 and business area should be drills. So here you are, it's drill machines. Okay, so name is, I will go to basic data once again and change the name of the cost center as drill machines. Go back to organization and confirm the settings which have been copied from the cost center which we copied. Change the profit center as well. We have got a profit center for drill machines. So choose the profit center for drill machines. And then that's it. So I just want to explain one more thing here. That cost center has one-to-one relationship with profit center, while profit center has got one-to-many relationship with cost center. Means that you can assign the same profit center to multiple cost centers, but you cannot have more than one profit center for a cost center. As you can see, that we do not have any option in the cost center master data to assign another profit center, but we can assign the same profit center to other cost centers. So profit center can have multiple cost centers, but one cost center can only have one profit center, right? And once you finish, then click save. Okay, and that's how you can create cost center and cost center groups. Just remember the transaction code for standard hierarchy for cost center, that is OKEON. Or you can go back and see the transaction code under accounting, controlling, cost center accounting, master data, standard hierarchy, OKEON for change, and OKENN is for display. If you click on change, so that's one more thing I would like to tell you, that for example, if you want to change the group, for example, you want that maintenance group should undergo finance node, so you can easily do that by dragging that maintenance group and then add it under finance. So maintenance is now under finance group. Similarly, you can do that for a cost center. For example, you want to enter water into, let's say, production, so you can drag it and then drop it on production group. So that's how you can easily reassign a cost center to another node of the standard hierarchy. I will just take it back under utilities. So that's just for your own understanding. If your organization want to add nodes and cost centers later on in future years, just do it for maintenance as well, and I will put it under the highest level of hierarchy so that maintenance can be a second level of group. Once you are done, just click save. In this lecture, I will show you how you can delete a cost center and make changes to the cost centers collectively. So if you go under accounting node, controlling, cost center accounting, master data, cost center, and here you have an option under individual processing folder, delete. The transaction code is KS04. And similarly, you have an option to process the cost centers collectively. For example, if you want to change mass update, like change cost centers all together in one screen, so then you can use the transaction code KS11. And if you want to delete multiple cost centers, then you can choose the transaction code KS14. Let's have a look. Go to delete, and first of all, make sure that you are using the correct controlling area. Go to set controlling area, and our controlling area is ZTUS. Save the settings, and now select the cost center, any cost center which you have created. Okay, our company code is TUK1, and press enter. And choose any cost center. Let's choose sauce. This is S1. S1 means that you want to ensure that you are going to delete only that cost center which you do not need. And there will be nothing which will be deleted as well, besides this cost center. So that's S1, or S1 will also show you if there is any error or issue to delete this cost center. So it is recommended that you always do S1 first. Check this box at S1 and then execute it. And here you will have results. The following objects can be deleted. If you will not be able to delete a cost center, so that the one reason can be the cost center will have data. If cost center will have any data exists, then you will not be able to delete that cost center. So cost center should not have any data, and then you can delete that. And once you're happy with that S1, then you can uncheck this box and then click execute it, and this will be production run. So you can execute it, and it is asking you, are you sure you want to delete the selected cost center? Click yes, and this will delete the cost center. In order to confirm that this cost center is deleted, you can go to the transaction code OKEON, which is to show you the cost center standard hierarchy, and you can see that the cost center for saws has been deleted. Similarly, you can go back, and if you want to process the cost center effectively, like make mass changes or mass update, then you can go to this transaction code KS11. Click on it, press enter, and here you have to give the value from value to date, assign the controlling area, and once you're happy with that, you can also give the cost center, but if you leave it blank, so all the cost centers will be selected. Click execute, and now here you can mass update the cost centers. You can change the name, description. Yeah, I think you can only change the name and description. You cannot change the cost center name. And here, cost center master record, you can change the value from date, person responsible, and user responsible. So that's how you can do mass maintenance for cost centers in one screen. And from this option, you can delete the multiple cost centers. In this lecture, I will show you how we can delete a cost center master data through SAP Theory. Go to the search bar and type cost centers. So just like manage profit centers app, we have got manage cost centers app. Click on it, and you will have this screen open. Go to create button and click on it. And you will have new cost center screen open. Click this button to make it full screen and enter your control area. Your control area is SAP US. So suppose we have to create another cost center for labor hours. So and this labor hours cost center should belong to production cost center group. So in that case, we will choose a naming convention like this. One is the last digit of the control area, then the company code, that is TUK1, and then P, and it is labor hours, so it will be L dash. 01 is the number because we can have many labor hours cost center. So the name is labor hours. And description will also be labor hours. You can choose the date valid from and valid from 1st of January. And enter the user responsible, it should be the system user. That's for fin1. And person responsible can be your name and enter the cost center category. So this cost center, as we are assuming, belongs to production cost center. Once you're done, so scroll down and here you have to enter the standard hierarchy node. Click go button and you will have all the standard hierarchy nodes listed. So from this drop down list, choose the production standard hierarchy node. Choose the company code, that is TUK1. And choose the business area. So I will choose the business area as TK0, drill machines. Profit center, I have already created a profit center with labor hours and I have assigned the segment Z labor hours of defining it. So that's our profit center and I'm going to assign the same profit center to my labor hours cost center. After that, just one thing to be noted, that your profit center either should have the same value range, value from value to date, or it should be in between this range. If your profit center belongs to, suppose, 1st January 2019, then the assignment will not be made and you will have the date error. So in that case, you have to create a new profit center with the value from date as of 1st of January 2020. So you have to be careful about the profit center and cost center value from and value to date. Ideally, both assignment for profit center and cost center should have the same value from and value to date. Functional area has been chosen as YD20, and have a look if you want to assign any other functional area. So let's assign 0100 as production. So I'm using the standard SAP provided functional areas. After that, have a look at control indicators and see which ones are locked. So we are using this cost center for revenue, posting, revenue planning, and recruitment updates. Okay, and so we are using, after that, scroll down, and you can enter budget availability control information if you are using that, and enter the address, communication, and if you want to create any other language to translate the information, for example, cost center name or cost center description, and change log if any user makes any changes to this cost center master data. Once you're happy with the creation of cost center, click save. Right, so it says validity period saved, and also the cost center has been created as well. Now if you go back to SAP Theory and wants to see, sorry, SAP Easy Access and wants to see if cost center has been created, then you go to the transaction code OKEON. And here you can see that we have created the cost center labor hours through SAP Theory. In this lecture, we will discuss about cost elements as GL account master data. Cost elements used to work as a cost carrier from financial accounting to controlling module in SAP ECC, which is the previous version of SAP S/4HANA Business Suite. There are two types of cost elements. Primary cost elements. It transfers costs from finance to controlling, such as material costs, energy costs, personal costs. And the second type of cost element is secondary cost elements. Controlling module cost only, such as assessment, internal activity allocation, or settlement. So secondary cost elements belong to controlling module only, while primary cost elements transfer costs from finance module to controlling module. In SAP S/4HANA Finance, both primary and secondary cost elements are now created as GL accounts and are part of the chart accounts. So this is the one big change in SAP S/4HANA Business Suite. If we compare it with SAP ECC, it is the previous version of SAP. A new field for the cost element category has been introduced in GL Master Record. A cost element category classifies cost elements according to their usage or origin. Account type in GL accounts controls the eligible cost element categories in SAP S/4HANA. The transaction code is FS00, which is the same transaction code to create GL Master. And the menu path is the same, but cost element also has got its own menu path if you want to follow. But if you follow the second menu path, it will still redirect you to the transaction code FS00. Cost element group can be created by using the transaction code KAH1 for grouping accounts and it's for reporting purposes. Its menu path is SAP Easy Access controlling cost element accounting master data, cost element group, and then create. I will demonstrate this now on SAP system. In SAP Easy Access screen, you can go under accounting, financial accounting, general ledger, master records, and GL accounts, then individual processing. Either you can use this menu path to create cost element, or alternatively, you can go to controlling, cost element accounting, master data, cost element, individual processing, and edit cost element. So the transaction code is the same for both GL account master data and cost element master data. So where are this field for cost center category? If you double click on edit cost element, so you will be landing on the same screen where you create GL account master data. So we create cost elements only for profit and loss GL accounts. So if you remember, we created one expense account and one revenue account as profit and loss accounts. So here you are. Click on it and go to change, and then go to control data. So now you see that after creating our controlling area, this field has been prepared, which says cost element category, and this is the required field. When we created this GL account, it was not there because we have not created the controlling area at that time. Now we have created it, so I will select it as primary cost element. And choose the category here, 1, primary cost or cost reducing revenue. Double click on it, and once you save it, so the cost element has been created as well. If you go back, so all the profit and loss accounts, GL account, if GL account type is primary cost or revenue, will be the examples of primary cost elements. But if you want to create secondary cost elements, then you have to go back to GL account type and choose secondary cost, and that will create secondary cost element, which records the business transactions in controlling module. Right? Similarly, you can go to the revenue account, that is 600,000, click change, go to control data, and choose the cost element category as 1, primary cost or cost reducing revenues. And then click save. So that's how you can create primary cost element. Now let's create 3 more cost elements plus GL accounts. So I'm going to create one GL account for electricity, second is for gas, and the third is for water. So let's create electricity or energy first. So I will enter 1 in front of it, and with template, this will be faster if you will copy from template. So I'm copying it from my expense account, and I will change the description. Now if you're using functional area, you can see that the functional area has also been popped up in the GL account screen. So you can change the short text as energy account for TUK1. Keep the group account number same, other expenses, or if you want to change it, so have a look if any group account exists for energy or electricity. Okay, it doesn't exist. So if you are very strict in terms of choosing the group account number, then you should create a group account number for energy. I'm going to use the same group account number as other expenses. Go to control data and choose primary cost for cost reducing revenues and cost accounts. So it's a reference group. Once you're done, click save. Similarly, you can create another one with 5002 and copy it with energy and just change the short text as gas, and then gas as well for the long text, and hit save. And third one is for water with template. So this is water account, and hit save. and you can also check. So the cost element category has been copied as well, and it is GL account as well as primary cost element. Now, if you want to see how you can create a secondary cost element, then you can choose the GL account as 900000, and then click create button, and GL account type will be secondary cost. Account group will be secondary cost or revenues, and choose the short text. Okay, first choose the profit and loss statement account type, and it will be plus symbol. Short text can be, let's say it is assessment secondary cost element. What is assessment? We will discuss this in our upcoming lecture. Go to control data. Okay, first we have to choose group account number, which is the required entry. Okay. Okay, go to find and enter secondary. And we have got secondary element cost. Two of them, select any of them. Go to control data, and you see that you do not have other fields which you used to have in a normal GL account or primary cost element. So cost element category. So here we will choose the cost element category as 42. So these are the categories for secondary cost elements. We do not have the option 1 here, which we choose for primary cost element. So I will select 42. Choose the field status group. So I will select G01. Okay, and then save it. Okay, one thing more, that cost element, just like cost center and profit center, have got time dependent attributes. So if you want to have a look, you can click this button, time dependent attributes. If you do not see any entries here, then you can go back and click change. So you should have in change mode before you click on time dependent attributes. And now you will see the date when you created this cost element. Also, if you go to old GL account number tab, so you will notice that there is a GL account which was before this 900,000 and which has been expired now. So you will see the due date and old GL account number, which is the same number as it is, but its due date can be a past date. And this is the future date from date. So that's how you can see time dependent attributes, which will be pop up automatically when you save a GL account as cost element. That's how we can create primary cost element and secondary cost element. Element and give the description, expenses cost element group. And similarly, select it. Okay, inside. Okay, I have renamed it as expenses and it was giving error. So looks like we should not have any space in between the cost element subgroup. Similarly, select this and click same level. And it will be revenue. Revenues, and the description will be revenues cost element group. Press enter. And we have created two subgroups for cost elements. Now select this and click cost element. And here you can give the range as our expenses GL or cost elements groups are from 500 and ending with 599. Later I will show you how we can create cost element group just like cost center and profit center hierarchy, and can assign cost elements relevant to the particular group. So if you go back to SAP Easy Access screen and go to accounting or controlling cost element accounting master data cost element group, and the transaction code is KAH1. Double click on it and you will be on this screen. So here you have to create a cost element group. So let's create a cost element group with the naming convention CESH and your company code is TUK1. And then click on this hierarchy and you will be on this screen. Here first you have to give the description of cost element group. It can be cost element group TUK1. Under that you can select it and click on lower level. So here you can give another group. You can name it as expense, expenses cost element, and give a description, expenses cost element group. And similarly, select it. Okay, inside. Okay, I have renamed it as expenses and it was giving error. So looks like we should not have any space in between the cost element subgroup. Similarly, select this and click same level. And it will be revenue. Revenues, and the description will be revenues cost element. Press enter. And we have created two subgroups for cost elements. Now select this and click cost element. And here you can give the range as our expenses GL or cost elements groups are from 500 and ending with 599. Press enter. And you will see that all our existing cost elements have been bought up. Similarly, you can do a similar creation for revenue cost elements hierarchy. Select this revenue group and then click on cost element. And our revenue cost elements are from, it can be revenue cost elements or cost reducing revenue, which are primary cost elements. So its number range from 600,000 to 699, and then press enter. And you have only one cost element. After that, click save. And that's how you can create cost element group. If you want to create another subgroup for secondary cost element, then you can select again and save and select same level. And you can call it as secondary. And enter the name secondary cost element group. Okay, so it is not recognized. I have just done secondary, and then select this not and click cost element. And our secondary cost elements range from 900,000 to 99. And then press enter, and you will see that assessment secondary cost element has been popped up. Click save. And that's how you can create cost element group. It is also very ideal for reporting purposes that you can come on this screen, do it as in display mode, go to hierarchy, and okay, go back and give the root hierarchy name that is CESHTUK1, and then click on it, and now you can see all your cost element group hierarchy. Expand, you can expand it, or you can select the node and then expand it. Okay, or you can also click plus sign to expand it. If you want to display cost element directly to the screen, you can double click on it, or you can select it and click cost element, and it will redirect you to the screen where you can see the settings for the cost element as GL account master data. In this lecture, I will show you how we can make default account assignment for cost center and profit center by using the transaction code OKB9. We used to do this setting through cost element master data in SAP ECC, but in SAP S/4HANA Business Suite, as cost element is now created from GL account master data, so we do not have that option now. We cannot make a default cost center in cost element master data. So we now have only one option to do that through the transaction code OKB9. The default account assignment for cost center is now maintained using transaction code OKB9 for primary cost elements. The default account assignment for profit center is also maintained using transaction OKB9 for revenue cost elements. We can also make one of the following entries mandatory by inputting account assignment detail, such as location area, business area, and profit center. Here is the transaction code OKB9 and its menu path. You can also adjust the automatic account assignment for cost center and profit center through substitution rules by using the transaction code GTD1. What is substitution rule? I will demonstrate this in one of the upcoming lectures. So now I will show you how we can default account assignment for cost center and profit center. So go to the transaction code STRO, SAP reference ING, and go to controlling node, cost center accounting, and then actual postings, and then manual actual postings, and then manage default account assignments. Execute this node. If you remember the transaction code OKB9, so then you do not need to follow this menu path, which is a long way to go. Alright, so click on new entries and enter your company code, that is TUK1. And now you have entered the cost element. Suppose we are making the default account assignment for our electricity, gas, and water cost elements. So how can we do that? So choose the cost element. First we create it for energy. Click on it and choose the cost center. So we created the cost center energy as well. Select it And you can alternatively choose another profit center through this screen. Otherwise, if you remember, we are already assigning a profit center into cost center master data. So if you enter another profit center here, so what will happen, because this cost center is already assigned to energy profit center. So this will take preference. The profit center which you will assign here will override the profit center which is assigned into the cost center master data. Right? So I'm not assigning any default profit center here. Similarly, you can do the UK1 and then it will be gas cost element. And choose the cost center for gas, and that's one. Choose water one and water cost center, and then press enter. And that's how you can make default settings. That when you will choose this cost element as GL account, then this cost center will be chosen by default. Similarly, you have other options to make the order default, which is in another order, and we will have a kind of lecture on that as well. And profit center, as I have already explained, that this will override the profit center, which is already assigned to the cost center master data. And the next one is account assignment detail. This is optional, but you can make one of the following entries mandatory by inputting account assignment. For example, if you click on it, so you have only three options: valuation area, business area, profit center. So if I will choose here business area, and then if I select this not and go to detail or business area, valuation area, then I have to assign here business area cost center, and this will restrict the cost center with that business area. So go back, and similarly, you can do the same option for profit center as well. If you will choose account assignment detail as 3, and then select this and go to detail or profit center, then you have to restrict this default account assignment by that profit center. So it depends on the business scenario. So at the moment, I'm showing you the default account assignment for cost center when you use these cost elements, and then click save. Enter a new customized request, and that's going to be default account assignment for cost center. Save it and press enter. And that's how you can make default account assignment for cost center and profit center. In this section, I will demonstrate you the configuration for currency types, ledgers, and accounting principles. Here is the business scenario. Besides GBP as local currency, the company wants to set up USD as group or global currency. As earlier, we have seen that our company belongs to United States and its currency is USD, while we are setting up UK company code with GBP currency, that is local currency. The company comes to know that SAP recommends ledger approach and wants to know more about it. As the increasing importance of IS or IFRS as accounting principles heightens the need for improved quality and modeling of segment reporting, so the management wants to set up ledger with different accounting principles, that is UK GAAP and IFRS. Here, GAAP represents generally accepted accounting principles and IFRS represents international financial reporting standards. The management wants to set up multiple ledgers to portray parallel accounting with different fiscal year and posting period than the company code. As we are aware that we are following US fiscal year, that is from January to December. Now here, I will demonstrate you how we can create a ledger with a different fiscal year. That fiscal year can belong to UK, which is from April to March, and the posting period accordingly, so that we can open and close UK fiscal year. So that can be done now through ledger approach. The currency type specifies the role of a currency in SAP system. The local and parallel currency options available in SAP system through currency types. For example, 10 represents local currency and 30 represents group currency, and we are following these two currency types. Local currency is our company code currency, that is GBP, and group currency is our controlling area currency. Company code currency and document currency must be stored in the data entry view if you define custom currency type for your company code. I will demonstrate you in SAP system. Next, SAP has provided predefined currency types. In SAP ECC, transaction code OB22 was used to set up additional local currency for company code, which is now replaced with the transaction code FinC, Ledger, and SAP S/4HANA. So remember, if you are an old user of SAP system and you have used SAP ECC in the past, so you remember that the transaction code OB22 has been replaced by FinC_Ledger. OB22 is no longer exist. Here is the menu path, and I will go and show you the configuration for global currency conversion settings and define currency conversion settings for company codes. So I will follow the menu path. Go to the transaction code SDR first, and then go to SAP reference IMG. Go into financial accounting node, financial accounting global settings. Go under ledgers, and then ledger, and then define settings for ledgers and currency types. You can also go to the transaction code FinC_Ledger. Execute this, and ignore any warnings. So the first thing is to go to currency types. SAP has already provided the templates for currency types, but if you want to create a unique currency type, then you can create new entries here. Otherwise, we will work with currency type 10, that is company code currency, and currency type 30, that is group currency. If both currency types do not exist in the SAP system, then you can create it by using new entries. But next, you can go to the folder global currency conversion settings. Double click on it, and you will be on this screen. Here, you have to make sure that company code currency, which is currency type 10, should exist in global currency conversion settings. If it doesn't exist, then you have to click new entries, and your company code currency will be sourced from document currency. Like your local documents in UK will be posting transactions in company code currency, that is GBP. And what is exchange rate type and translation date type, we haven't yet done that lecture. So I will explain what is exchange rate type M and the translation date type, because you have to set up the exchange rate type with the translation date type, and then you have to store the latest exchange rate. For example, if a document is posted in USD, so locally in company code currency, in which translation date you want to see. So the exchange rate, for example, if a document was posted today, so an exchange rate is stored in the system for today, so accordingly the document amount will be translated into from USD to GBP. So that's what we will do the configuration for exchange rate type and then translation date type. Real time conversion, you can check mark this box, and or it will be marked by default when you create new currency type. So just here at this step, you just have to make sure that currency type 10 exists into SAP system. Next, you can go and check currency conversion settings for company codes. Double click on it, ignore any warnings, and here you have to ensure that currency conversion settings for your company codes do exist. If they don't, then you have to create it. So if I go to position and look for my company code, that is PUK1. So it looks like it doesn't exist. So I will go and then create new entries. Your company code is PUK1. And currency type. Currency type here will be global currency, because you know your local currency, that is GBP. Don't want any translation from GBP to GBP. It will always be from a foreign currency to that local currency. So here you have to enter the global currency which we are using with our control area. So enter 30. 30 represents global currency. And here you have to give the source currency. And source currency is 10. Press enter. Okay, we will enter exchange rate definitely. And now the group currency will source the currency type company code. But this is necessary because when you do transactions in GBP, so management sitting in US wants to see the reports in USD, because company's main currency which it uses globally is USD. So it wants to see the profit and loss reports and other revenue reports, expenses reports, balance sheet. So they want to see all other reports in USD. Local currency will be GBP. So here this configuration is required. If you will not do that, so the company code currency will not translate into group currency. Here you have to ensure that exchange rate type is M. And translation date type, select option, and I will choose translation date. And real time conversion by default it will be checked. Similarly, you can assign other company codes if you like, for example, EUS1. Okay, so alright, so because US is already using group currency, so it doesn't need any translation or translation date, because group currency and company code currency for TUS1 is US dollars. And your other company codes like German company code, that is EDE1. And it will be 30, and company again, and the source currency type 10, and continue. And now you will see that we have to enter exchange rate type, because EDE has euro currency as its company code currency, so it requires exchange rate type M, and translation date will be translation date. Translation date we will configure it in our upcoming lecture with exchange rate type M. Okay, and next company code we have is PCN1 for China. And it will be source currency type 10. Okay, if you receive this error, so it means that entity already exists with the same key. So we will have a look at it later on. So just click this button, ignore the setting, and then click save. Press enter. And what we have done, we have done currency conversion settings for company codes, EUA1, and then press enter. Press enter again. And now go back and see why TCN1 was not picked up. Okay, so it looks like already its conversion setting exists. Maybe we copied, and from that copy, it has been translated. So currently it is sourcing from document currency. So what we will do, we will just replace it with company code currency. Because document currency in locally it will be CNY. And so company code currency, document currency will always be the same. But as we are setting up our source currency and compare company code currency, so I will align the settings for all my company codes, and I will change it from 00 to 10, and then click save. Okay, ignore any warning by pressing enter. And that's how you can make the settings for currency conversion for company codes. This is a screen which is new in SAP S/4HANA because the same settings we used to do in SAP ECC by using the transaction code OP22. So if you are an old user of SAP ECC, so you should acknowledge this change that now we set up the currency conversion settings through this transaction code fincy _ledger and through this screen. In this lecture, I will briefly explain you where we can configure exchange rates with the type M and where we can give translation date type. So that's what I will show you in this lecture. So create a new section and go to the transaction code SPIO, SAP reference ING, and go to SAP NetWeaver. So currency exchange rates are configured through SAP NetWeaver. What is SAP NetWeaver? It is an integrated technology platform and is not a product in itself. It is the underlying technology for all the products in SAP S/4HANA Business Suite. So currency exchange rates are maintained through SAP NetWeaver. So we will go to this SAP NetWeaver node and then go to general settings and go to currencies node, and here we can enter exchange rates. Execute this and click new entries. So here is the option for exchange rate type. So currencies in the SAP system are defined by using currency keys such as GBP, USD. And there are three following commonly used exchange rate types, like M represents average rate for posting and clearing, G represents buying rate, B represents bank salary rate. So we will use here M, which is average rate for posting and clearing. So enter M and valid from. So I will enter the validity date, let's say 1st of October 2020 in direct quote. For example, you are a UK-based company user and you have received an invoice in USD because maybe you have done an intercompany transaction from your USD-based company, that is the US one. So in that case, you have received the amount in US dollars and you want to convert it into your local currency or company code currency, that is GBP. So what you will do, you will enter here from. From means USD. Now, if you are enter here from, then 2 will be GBP. Enter. Okay, so now you have two options: indirect quoted exchange rate and direct quoted exchange rate. You have to configure this. Either you are going to use direct quoted exchange rate or indirect quoted exchange rate. Now here you can go and see that information. Okay, I'm in google.com and I have just entered 1 USD to GBP and it has given me the rate 0.77. And if I go back to a website which is XC, it has given me this long digit numbers. So this is ideal to use it on SAP system instead of the exchange rate only with 2 digits of decimal. So what I will do, I will copy it and then I will go back to my SAP system and then assign it here and then press enter. Okay, so it is giving me the error. Why? Because it is saying input must be in the format and it says like first dot and then comma. Normally what we can do in UK that we use comma first and then dot later on. So you can do these settings at user level. Which transaction code you can use to go and see? I will show you. Create a new section and then go to transaction code SU01, that is a user maintenance, and enter your username and click display. And go to defaults tab. And here you can see decimal notation. Decimal notation says 1 dot and then after comma 89 represents 2 digits only. Like it can be other way around as well, but you have to choose the settings here like this. So as we are using these settings because of the business requirements or because of our company's choice, then we will keep the settings like this. Otherwise, you can come back on at user level settings and you can change it at your end. You can go back and what we'll do, we will enter here comma instead of dot and then press enter. So it is still giving us error. Then what you can do, you can try to reduce the digits. Remove 0 and then press enter. And this time it has been accepted. Click save. And so that's how you can maintain the exchange rates by using the direct quote. But if you have to do indirect quote, so how will you do that? Then in that case, you have to do from 1 GBP to USD. As you can see, the rate is 1.30. And if you want to see on the website xc.com, so it's 1.29852. You can copy this and then go back to SAP system. And here you have to enter indirect quote. But in that case, you will not be using direct quote. So you have to choose either direct quote or indirect quote. That's what you have to do the configuration or do the settings. Either you want to use indirect quote or direct quote for your company. That's what I will show you in the upcoming lecture. That how we can configure the preference for indirect quote or direct quote. So at the moment, I will go with direct quote and then save it. So I have briefly explained this lecture and I will show and demonstrate other settings under currencies as well, and it will be in one of our section currencies, exchange rates, and exchange rate differences. Next, we will do our ledger configuration. Double click on ledger, and you will be on the screen where you can configure your ledger. So this is the new ledger architecture, which was introduced in SAP S/4HANA Business Suite. So it has the following components: leading ledger, which is identified by 0L, non-leading ledger, and appendix ledger, which is introduced in SAP S/4HANA Finance with the new ledger architecture. In traditional finance or FI module, the leading ledger posts in real time, and the non-leading ledger posts periodically. Now in SAP S/4HANA Finance, both leading and non-leading ledgers are created as standard ledger. The leading ledger concept remains the same. That is, there must be exactly one leading ledger which is 0L by default to be assigned to all company codes. It cannot be deactivated. It defines the document number that is field P, L, and R for all ledgers and contains the full set of line items in table AC local. It is also the source for actual CO data that is assigned to actual version 0. In financial accounting, you have to specify at least one currency for the ledgers to be managed. That is local and global currency. You can configure up to 8 freely defined currencies per company and ledger in addition. This is a transaction code fincy _ledger, and here is its menu path, which we are already aware of. So I am in a ledger configuration screen, and you can see 0L leading ledger created by SAP. So the company must be assigned to this ledger. Before I do that, I want to explain you further settings. For example, account principles of ledger. So this is the first level where you can assign accounting principle, and that is at ledger level. If you will assign accounting principle at ledger level, so this will be valid for all your company codes under that ledger. So I will select it and then go to company code settings for the ledger. Double click on it. Ignore the bottom pressing enter, go to position and make sure that your company is assigned to the leading ledger. So our company by default is assigned to the leading ledger. And you can see local currency type and global currency type. And you can also configure up to 8 freely defined currencies per company code and ledger in addition. But you have to ensure that freely defined currency should be created first in global currency conversion settings option. If you will not create any currency settings here, so you will not be able to see that. For example, if I will click this button, so it is showing me currency type 20, controlling area currency, which I can assign to my company code. And if I go to global currency conversion settings, so I can see here that 20 is the controlling area currency, that is with document currency, with the source type 00. Go back again and scroll right. And here you can see fiscal year variant and posting period variant assigned to the company code settings for the ledger. You can also double click on your company code Press enter, ignore the warning, and you can see the information here. Per ledger and per company code. So you can change the fiscal year variant and posting period variant, but ideally it should be the main fiscal year variant and posting period variant which you are using with your company code. Accounting principle of ledger. So first I showed you the accounting principle at ledger, and now you can see that at company code level. So here I will explain further for assignment of accounting principle. An accounting principle can be assigned at three levels: ledger, company code, and accounting principles for company codes that is older logic but still exists. If the assignment is done at the ledger level, the accounting principle is valid for all the company codes of that ledger. But typically the accounting principle can be set for individual company codes in a ledger if the accounting principle is not defined at the ledger level. So in our case, leading ledger has already got an accounting principle assigned at ledger level, and that's why we cannot set accounting principle at individual company code level. The third level is the older logic, which allows you to assign one or more accounting principles to a company code in a ledger. In this specific case, there is an assignment at the ledger or company code level, as well as an assignment using the older logic. The older assignment does not match the new assignment. Let's see that configuration. So if I click on accounting principles for ledger and company code, as you can see that we cannot change this because this accounting principle is assigned at ledger level, so we cannot assign accounting principle at company code level. Double click on it by pressing enter, and here this is for accounting principles for ledger and company code. So you have got three accounting principles assigned here. So this is the older logic. You can assign more accounting principles by pressing enter. Go back, ignore the one by pressing enter. The next one is parallel accounting using GL accounts. First of all, you have to understand what is parallel accounting. Parallel accounting actually enables you to perform valuation and closing operations for a company code based on the accounting principles of the code, as well as additional accounting principles such as local accounting principles. So the parallel accounting using additional GL accounts indicate that for this company code, you are going to do parallel accounting using GL accounts instead of different ledger. This indicator has two purposes. It increases the transparency in the system. If you set this indicator, you will most likely need to assign more than one accounting principle to this combination of ledger and company code. The different accounting principles in SAP S/4HANA Finance can be presented through both ledger and accounts approach. So I will use parallel accounting using GL accounts. I will check this box. Functional currency will be my local currency, that is 10, company code currency, and then press enter. After that, click on save. And I will create a new customization request, and this is the leading ledger configuration, PUK1. Save it. Press enter to continue. And that's how we can configure company code settings for the leading ledger. Go back. Go back again. What is non-leading ledger? Non-leading standard ledgers, just like SAP ECC, can still be assigned to selected company codes. Just like leading ledger, a non-leading ledger also contains a full set of line items in table HC lookup. It inherits the currency configuration of the leading ledger and can have a different fiscal year variant and open period variant. When a ledger is created, the system automatically generates a ledger group with the same name. A non-leading ledger can be used for each local accounting principle. You do not need to create a ledger group for all ledgers because the system automatically posts to all ledgers when you do not enter a ledger group in a function. The transaction code is the same thing for ledger, and here is the menu path which I will follow on SAP system. So I will create new entries for non-leading ledger, and I will give the name to the non-leading ledger as Z1, as it is identified by two digit alphanumeric key. Ledger name, I will say non-leading ledger. That will be PUK1. It cannot be leading because leading ledger is always 0L. Ledger type standard ledger, and that is extension ledger type standard journal is fine, and you do not need any other information. You can assign accounting principle at ledger level, but we will decide later on. Press enter, and then click save. Press enter to ignore any warning, and you see ledger group has been created automatically with the same name. Press enter, and the non-leading ledger will be created. Next step is to do company code settings for the ledger. Select this and go to company code settings for the ledger. And here you have to assign your company code. Click new entries, and your company code is PUK1. And now you have to choose the fiscal year variant, which is going to be the same as the main fiscal year variant, that is ZA. You can also use the fiscal year variant ZT as non-calendar year. But the issue is that when you will be configuring your new asset accounting module, then you will not be able to assign your company code to the chart of appreciation because you are using two different fiscal year variants, and their start and end dates are different. And the requirement for chart of appreciation in asset accounting is that your fiscal year variants must have the same start and end date. So that's why I am using the same calendar year, which is assigned to our company code. So choose this posting period variant. Now here I can choose a different posting period variant. So I have already created a posting period variant as ZAB2. ZAB1 is a one posting period variant which is already assigned to our company code. But through that posting period, we can open and close US fiscal year variant. That is the same, ZA. That will be closed through ZAB1. But you can open and close ZA for ZAB1. But in this non-leading ledger, if I will choose ZAB2, so this non-leading ledger will still be open even if you close the period through the posting period variant ZAB1. Because ZAB2 is still open for this non-leading ledger to post the transactions. So here we will differentiate when it is new year ending for US fiscal year variant, but we will keep using this posting period variant to open the calendar year ZA for working in this non-leading ledger. Next, we will choose the accounting principle, and we will select UK GAAP. And for UK GAAP, we have GHGB. GAAP, we are already using this with the leading ledger 0L. So I will use GHGB, that is UK GAAP, with this non-leading ledger. Functional currency will be the same, that is 10, that is company code currency. Press enter, and click yes. And first currency and second currency will be pop up. Next, check this box, parallel accounting using GL accounts. Select this, and it means that we are using both ledger and accounts approach for parallel accounting. And check all the information, and then hit save. Press enter, and it is non-leading ledger for the UK1. Save it. Press enter, and the data will be saved with your newly created non-leading ledger. As explained earlier, when a ledger is created, the system automatically generates a ledger group with the same name. You do not need to create a ledger group for all ledgers because the system automatically posts to all ledgers when you do not enter a ledger group in a function. You only have to create those ledger groups in which you want to combine several ledgers for joint processing in a function. You can combine any number of ledgers in a group. So if I go back and show you that where you can see the ledger group which was created when we created our non-leading ledger. So if you go to this not defined ledger group and then go to position, and your ledger group is Z1. So you see that it was created automatically. Next is assign accounting principle to ledger group. When a ledger is created, the system automatically generates a ledger group with the same name. Further, for parallel accounting and for assignment of ledger through accounting principle in depreciation areas in new asset accounting, we have to assign accounting principle to ledger group. How can we do that? That's the menu path, which I will follow on SAP system. Go back and go under parallel accounting. And here you have an option to assign accounting principle to ledger groups. Execute this node. Before I execute this, you can see that you have an option to define accounting principles. You can create a new accounting principles here if it does not exist for your company. Let me show you. So here you can create new entries to create a new accounting principle with a new name which your company recommends. Now go back and then assign accounting principle to ledger groups. Go to position, and remember that we assigned UK GAAP, that was GAGB, with our non-leading ledger. So here I will assign the target ledger group, and that will be Z1. Okay, if you receive this error, postings already exist with ledger group. So it looks like posting already exists with the accounting principle, and you cannot actually use this accounting principle with this target ledger group. In that case, I will suggest you to create a new accounting principle. This normally does not happen if you are using a new SAP system. where you will have only the standard templates. So I will define a new accounting principle for UK GAAP, and that I will choose UK GP, UK GAAP. Press enter, and then save it. And then create a new customizing request, and that is define accounting principle UK GP for the company code T UK 1. Save it and press enter. Okay, now go back and then execute it and go to position and look for UK GP. It does not exist, so you have to create new entries and enter UK GP, and the target ledger is Z1. Press enter, and this time it will work. Click save, and you can create a new customizing request. Assign accounting principle to ledger group Z1, and then save it. Press enter, and go back to define settings for ledger and currency types. Execute it, and go to position and look for your ledger Z1, and then select it. Go to company code settings for the ledger. Press enter to continue, and here you have to change the accounting principle as UKGP, as UK GAAP. UK GAAP. So here I would also show you, if you do not want to assign accounting principle at company code level because you want to assign more than one accounting principles to a non-living ledger, then how can you do that? As we have explained earlier in the slide, that you can assign more than one accounting principles through the third level, which is the older logic, and that allows you to assign one or more accounting principles to a company code in a ledger. So I would remove it, enter, and then I would go to the third level, assign accounting principles for ledger and company code. Double click on it, press enter to continue, click new entries, and first type UKGP, and then type ZIS. ZIS is an accounting principle for international accounting standards. So that's how you can assign more than one accounting principles to a ledger. Hit save, press enter to continue, and enter again. And that's how you can assign more than one accounting principles to a ledger. Ledger, or we also call that as extension ledger. The transaction code is the same, that is _ledger, and the menu path is the same as well. We have created our non-living ledger. So what is appendix ledger? It is newly introduced ledger and is assigned to a living or non-living ledger. The ledger is created as an extension ledger, which can point to the same underlying ledger. This ledger can be useful for adjustments, for consolidation purposes, and simulation of foreign currency valuation. Appendix ledger as extension ledger can be assigned its own variants. That means that the standard ledger can be closed and the assigned extension ledger can be opened. Reporting on the extension ledger always includes the data of the underlying ledger. Extension ledger usage also includes adjustments for local accounting and foreign currency valuation. It inherits the currency configuration of the living ledger and can have a different posting period variant. Unlike living and non-living ledgers, it contains only those line items which are posted to this ledger only, that is appendix ledger. As this ledger takes the base from the standard ledger, so this prevents multiple data footprint and significantly reduces data redundancy because the journal entries do not need to be posted to both the appendix and the standard ledger. Many appendix ledgers can be assigned to the same standard ledger, but an appendix ledger cannot be assigned on top of another appendix ledger. The appendix ledger only accepts manual postings, that is through transaction code FD01L, FD1, KB11, and KB41. It can report on all the transaction data of the underlying ledger, so we can create management views without duplicating the data from the underlying ledger. Each ledger standard or appendix is assigned to an accounting principle. You can also link an accounting principle manually to a ledger group that contains an extension ledger. Extension ledger can be assigned to a different posting period variant. This means that the standard ledger can be closed while assigned extension ledger remains open. So I'm in the same transaction code CC ledger, and now I will show you how we can create an extension ledger or appendix ledger. So first, you have to create new entries and then choose the name of the appendix ledger. For example, it can be Z2, appendix ledger, and the company code is TUK1. Ledger type, here you have to distinguish between the ledger type. Either it can be a standard ledger, that is non-living ledger, or an extension ledger. Choose this one. Extension ledger type will be the standard journal entries. Underlying ledger. So we will choose the living ledger as underlying ledger, that is 0L. We can also choose our non-living ledger, but I will recommend you to choose underlying ledger as 0L according to the business requirements. And click enter. After that, select this. You can also choose the accounting principle of ledger at appendix ledger level, or you can do it at company code level as well. Save the appendix ledger settings and create a new customizing request, and it will be appendix ledger for TUK1. Save it. Press enter. So ledger group Z2 is created only with ledger Z2. Continue. And you have created the appendix ledger. Next, you have to assign the company code settings for the ledger. So select it and go to company code settings for the ledger. And you will be landed on this screen. Here you have to remove all extra company codes which have been assigned to your appendix ledger by default. So how can we do it quickly? You can select this button, select all, and then scroll down and choose your company codes. All your company codes start with the alphabet T. So I will select PCM1, TDE1, and TUK1 and TUS1, and then remove all other company codes. That's it, and then click save. Press enter, ignore the warnings, and the data will be saved. Now, as we are working in the company code TUK1, so double click on it, and you have to assign the accounting principle at appendix ledger level. So let's choose as IAS, and I will choose the functional currency as global or group currency, and then click save. Press enter, ignore any warnings. So that's how you can create appendix ledger and then can do company code settings for the ledger. So here's a quick summary of what we have done so far in this session. Define and demonstrate the configuration for currency types. Define and demonstrate the configuration for currency conversion settings for company codes. Enter the exchange rate for USD to GBP conversion exchange rate type N. Define and demonstrate the settings for living ledger UL and its assignment with the company code and accounting principle. Create the non-living ledger Z1 and then demonstrate its assignment with the company code with different posting period variant. Define and demonstrate the ledger group and its assignment to the accounting principle. Assign multiple accounting principles to the non-living ledger at third level, which is the older logic. Create the appendix or extension ledger Z2 and then demonstrate its assignment to the company codes and accounting principles. In this session, I will demonstrate you the integration of controlling with financial accounting. Here is the menu path to integrate controlling module with financial accounting module. Let me tell you before I follow the menu path that cost elements we have previously seen that they are created now as GL accounts. So in SAP S/4HANA Business Suite, the integration has been very simplified because of cost elements created as GL accounts. So what other configuration is remaining? That's what I will show you. So I am in SAP screen and I will go to the transaction SPL, SAP reference ING, and go to financial accounting node, and then financial accounting settings, ledgers, and then integration of controlling with financial accounting. So the first step is to check the definition of document types for posting and controlling. So execute this, and you will see that by default SAP has provided standard document types. So in CO, you have to check the document type CO, that is for secondary cost, and CC, that is secondary cost cross company transaction. So these two document types are mainly used in CO module. So what do you have to check here? If you click on CO module, so you will see the settings here, especially the number range. You have to ensure that number range exists in SAP system, because when you will create any CO transaction involving secondary cost element and the number range does not exist, then it will give you an error. So how to make sure that this number range exists? You will click on number range information here. Click on that, and then enter your company code, that is TUK1, and then click on in display intervals. So right now, no document number range interval exists. So in that case, you go back and click this copy icon, and then from 0001 and enter your company code TUK1, and then press enter to continue. Press enter, and you will have a message company code 0001 was copied to TUK1. Now go back to display intervals, and now you can see that the number ranges have been created for company code TUK1. Similarly, Similarly, you can create the number range intervals for your other company codes. Now go back and then go back again. Okay, one thing more. You will notice that number range is 23. If you go back to number range information and enter your company code and go back to display intervals, so you have to ensure that the number 23 should exist. Okay, so it does not exist. So in that case, either you can create the number range with the number 23, or you can use the existing number range interval. So what if you have to create a number range interval? So you can go to click on this change button and then you can click this insert line. And here you will type number 23. Here either you can type 9999 and this number range will be valid for all the years. But if your company is very specific and of the year and they want to create number ranges per year, then in that case you have to enter the year and accordingly number range. So enter here 2020. And as the number range number is 23, so your number range should be 23 as well, reflecting the number. So from number 23 to number like this, yeah. And then press enter and 23 will exist. And then save. Press enter to continue, and that's how you can create number range with the number 23, which is assigned to your document type CO. Now go back to the document type CC and double click on it, and this number range is 24. So make sure that this number range also exists. Click this number range information button and go to the company code TUK1 and press intervals. And make sure that 24 exists. No, it doesn't exist. So then click on this pencil button to change the screen and click on insert line. Okay, and then enter 24 here, 2020 and 24, and similarly 2499. And then save it. Press enter continue, and the number range interval will be created. Go back and go back again. So CO and CC, these are two number ranges and which will be used in C module. And these document types actually belong to F5 module. Right, so this is one type of integration between CO and F5. Now go back. The second step is to define document type mapping variants for CO business transactions. Now in this step, you have to integrate the F5 document types with CO document types. So first of all, it is the document type mapping variant, which SAP has already created by default. So have a look at the default variant. So it looks like that this is the default variant, which is used in CO transactions. Select this and go to mapping of CO business transactions. So these are CO business transaction. You can call it document types or variant, and these are assigned or integrated with F5 document types, CO and CC. So like for example, if it is a manual cost allocation with a CO business transaction A and V, so F5 document will be created with the document type CO. That's what it means, and it is already integrated, so you don't have to make any changes. But if you will create any custom document type in the previous step which I showed you, then in that case you have to do the integration manually for that custom document type by creating new entries. So that's the purpose of the last screen I showed you and for this screen. If your organization wants to create any new custom document type besides standard document type, if you're going to use standard document type, then you don't have to make any integration here with the between the document types and leave it as is. But if you create a custom document type, then you have to come here and then create new entries and integrate CO business transaction with F5 document type. Right? So next is check and define default values for postings in controlling. So execute this option and go to position and search your company TUK1. So TUK1 exists. So what it does here, first of all, it is mapping document type mapping variant. That's the one it is using. If you click on it, you have two document type mapping variants option. So standard and SEO line integration. You can choose either one of them. Suppose you want to choose this one because it's the default one that you can select here. The next one is default ledger group. So the purpose of this step is to define default values for using CO business transactions for those users who are not allowed to enter a document type or a ledger group for posting purposes in the transaction codes, for example, KP11 or KP41. So let's see that transaction code and to understand further. For example, go to KP11. This is CO business transaction for manually posting of costs. And you can see here that you have a field called ledger group. So if you do not enter a ledger group here, then CO postings will be done to all GL ledgers. And if the user interface will not use this field because maybe for your permissions or any other thing that this field is hidden for some users, then what organization can do, then they can assign a default ledger group for those users, and CO transactions will be posted to only that default ledger group. That's what we don't want, because in our business case, we want to post in all GL ledgers. So we do not enter any default ledger group here. So keep it as it is, and then click save as we have changed document type mapping variant. And create a new customizing request, and it's CO document type mapping variant for our company code TUK1. And then save it. Press enter and press it. Now go back. Define ledger for CO version. Execute it. Go to position and search your CO area. So your CO area is ZTUS. Press enter. And here you will see that leading ledger 0L is assigned to CO version 0 for the controlling area ZTUS, because it is to maintain integration of controlling with financial accounting. So this integration has been done by default. Or this is done because we copied a controlling area 001, and that's why this integration was done from the company code 001. So if you will not be able to see your controlling area and the assignment between the leading ledger 0L and the version 0, then you need to create new entries and do it manually. Just remember one thing here, that CO version cannot be assigned to an appendix ledger or extension ledger. CO version can be assigned to a non-leading ledger, but non-leading ledger should not be extension ledger or appendix ledger.